Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel. So today we are in the Triglavian systems of Poached Egg, and in order to get here we've used one of the border 5s, and in order to get back out we'll use a glorification. Now these work exactly the same as all the other filaments that have been added to the game. You basically need to be about 1,000 kilometers away from any anchored structure, and you right click and basically just port through, and it will pull you into one of the 27 or 29 Triglavian systems. So a good proportion of the systems do actually have an NPC station. I think there's 6 or 7 that don't, so the likelihood is pretty high. You've got pretty much a 70% chance of basically porting randomly into one that does have a station. But I've got the extra filaments in my cargo hold just in the off chance that I don't find one. And as we can see here, we've found the NPC station and I'm basically warping to it because I want to dock. Now, unlike the Triglavian Stargates, you do not need standings in order to be able to dock at any of the stations. Now, I've warped into this one. I have been here a few times, but I must admit I was a bit nervous when I saw the Triglavians outside. But thankfully the ship docked up fine and all is good. And so the reason I'm here is that I wanted to buy some Kiki BPCs, and you can buy these from the loyalty store. Now I'm doing this retrospectively, so you need 800 of the interstellar navigation logs and it will cost you 2 million ISK. Now the interstellar navigation logs currently in Jita will set you back 6,500 give or take per item, so you need 800, and as you can see here I've already been and bought my 66 Kiki BPCs. So if you are seeing this video, chances are it's in the past. I recorded this on the 26th of February, so prices may have changed since then. So the reason I'm here is, if you cast your mind back, if you watched the video that I did with the alts and manufacturing the entropic radiation sinks, you can only buy them in, it's not an original by the way, but you can only buy them in one run, and it alerted me to the fact that I'd kind of forgotten that you could get the BPCs from the loyalty store in Poached Egg, and so yeah, decided to take a trip out here, jumped on the test server, tested getting here again, and made sure that obviously what I was buying, or the price that I could get the BPCs here, was cheaper than in Jita, and this works out to, let's have a quick check, shall we? So 655 times 800 plus 2 million is 7.2 million ISK for one of these BPCs, where in Jita at the moment they are going for 13 million. So obviously that is 13 minus 2. So I'm saving 5.8 million ISK on each BPC. Now obviously 5.8 times for 66, I've just made 382 million ISK. So assuming that I managed to get out of here without being destroyed, it has been a very profitable trip. So I've got what I've came for, it's now time for the trip home. So let's get cracking, shall we? This will take me to one of the Triglavian contested, or was contested, systems. And there we go. That was nice, swift and easy. So other than the undock, and again I could have probably have found a celestial that was maybe more in line with the undock, but as we saw we didn't need it in the end, so that worked out quite nicely. And we are in a 0.4 system, so let's get cloaking. Lone trek, so hop, skip and a jump, and we will be back at Jita, hopefully. Now look at that, perfect. So 4 jumps, let's get cracking. So this works out quite nicely, as I say, you know, I could obviously buy the BPCs potentially from the contract system, but trying to get the sheer bulk of what I'm after, it can be problematic. And again, this comes back, as I've said on numerous videos, it's basically just finding opportunities that happen to be there. And again, you know, I didn't know, it wasn't until I made that video and some of the comments of people says, oh, you can get them from Pochven, and it was like, ding ding ding, what, you know, why hadn't I thought of that? It was just plain sight in front of me. And so say, you know, jump in a ship quickly, go check it out. Again, you can do most of the things that you can on the live server on the test server, so if you're not quite sure how some of the mechanics and that work, then jump on the test server, give it a spin, and see if it does do or does function in the way that you're hoping it does. And yeah, so potentially I've got what was it, 382 million, and then I've got whatever building costs on top of that now. As it currently stands, well, we'll check it when we get back to Jita. Then we've got flashes here. Now, something to be aware of when you are in a cloaky transport ship is the most dangerous part, as you'd expect, is on the other side of the gate. Now, currently we haven't got anything here, but, and I don't know why these always disappear from my overview, but basically you want the NPCs on your overview, because if you're unlucky and you are relatively close to one of the NPCs, then you are going to be in a bit of trouble because you can't cloak, and that is obviously very important, so it's always worth having the NPCs. Also, I can't or don't know when they made this change, but when you warp to a location now, the initial warp to is 100 kilometers, and it can throw you off quite badly, so it is something to be aware of in order to be able to cloak. In order to be able to, or to warp, your initial default warp isn't your normal default warp. So if you've not flown a deep space transport before, or a cloaky transport, sorry, then it is something to be obviously aware of. It has thrown me a couple of times when I haven't been paying attention. So as always, insta-dock for jitter, because this is one of the most dangerous parts. Click once, don't click again, just let it do its thing. Now you can set the autopilot and do it that way as well, that will help you dock. And there we go, all safe and sound. So that was the most dangerous part of the entire journey. So that is a nice way of getting yourself some cheaper BPCs than what you can get currently on the market. So at the moment we are paying 7 million if we look in contracts. Got one down at 10 million, 1010, and then the jump to 14. So again, not a bad little markup there, so almost 7 million ISK per BPC. So that's not a bad haul of BPCs there, and again that was relatively straightforward and easy to get. Now you can obviously get the other ships on there as well, the Triglavian ships, as well as the skill books. You can't get the specialization skill books, but you can get all the other standard skill books, so the small, medium, large, and the frigate, destroyer, cruiser, and battleship skill books as well. So it's something to be aware of, that there is a bit of this to be made by ferrying these backwards and forwards and selling them on the open market. And as I said earlier, this all came about by the last video, or the video that I made in regards to manufacturing and alts. I hadn't thought of this way of making money, and again, that's what I love about EVE, that there are just so many things hiding in plain sight, or things that you possibly haven't contemplated, thought about, and this is a great example. This is, as I say, a decent amount of ISK for very little work, and I'm going to turn all these sooner or later into ships, and that will obviously yield me even more profit. So I hope that was interesting, I hope that was enjoyable, and again, if you made it this far, thanks for listening, and talk to you soon.